It's your girl JoAnnGray, and I just wanted to reach out to you all today. So many of us are on journeys and roads to self-discovery, self-mastery, knowledge of self, and I just wanted to share some books with you if you're interested. This book is called The 4 Agreements. This is the first book I wanted to share with you today. This book was made available to us in the late 90s. A friend of mine shared the book with me, and I want to share it with you all. This book was written by Don Miguel Ruiz, MD, and the second book it was written last year. I bought it hot off the press. This is called The 5th Agreement. So this kind of sums up the first book and ties in together the agreements to lead you on the right path to self-discovery, self-mastery, and to help you be a better citizen and a awesome human being. So, in the 4 agreements are as follows. The 4 agreements: be impeccable with your word, speak with integrity, say only what you mean, avoid using the word to speak against yourself or to gossip about others, use the power of your word in the direction of truth and love. Now, you can't beat that. Being impeccable with your word makes some assurances. Read this book, and it'll help you along. The second agreement is don't take anything personally. Now, I'm going to repeat that. Don't take anything personally. Now, that's probably going to be the most difficult for most of us. Well, I think we're all going to have some difficulties, as many are going to stumble with the impeccable with your word theory. Be impeccable with your word. But many of us have so many deep-seated issues, things that we grew up with, things that people have said to us that have crushed our self-esteem. This is going to help you come out of that. I guarantee you, if you can just grasp, don't take anything personally. Nothing others do is because of you. What others say and do is a projection of their own reality, their own dream. When you are immune to the opinions and actions of others, immune meaning you're not affected by you, they can't touch you. When you are immune to the opinions and actions of others, you won't be the victim of needless suffering. Period. The third agreement is don't make assumptions. Now, this one is going to make us the best human beings, because disagreements, misjudgments are the downfall of our country, of our relationships, just not communicating and thinking we know better. Instead of asking questions that we want answers to, accepting answers that we get, and modifying, we would rather just think that we know it all. We don't know it all. So don't make assumptions. Find the courage to ask questions to express what you really want. Find the courage to ask questions to express what you really want. Instead of looking at me eating a slice of pizza and assuming that I'm going to offer you a piece, ask me for a slice of pizza. Communicate with others as clearly as you can to avoid misunderstandings, sadness, and drama. With just this one agreement, you can completely transform your life. Believe that. I've had these several talks with friends of mine lately about follow-through. If you say something to me and I'm waiting for you to come through or to follow through, and you don't, Assumptions, I can naturally assume that you really weren't serious about what you were talking about. I can assume that. But should I then follow up and say, hey, you know what? A week ago you said this was going to happen. Why isn't that happening? That is asking the questions to express what you really want. But being impeccable with your word, you would never leave someone hanging. You would never not have that follow through. you would follow through. You would say what you mean and mean what you say, so that you are having a detailed and complete understanding with the person that you are sending this message to. So again, with just this one agreement, you can completely transform your life. Don't make assumptions. Here's another assumption. You're a woman and you're walking towards the door. There's a man in front of you. Now, mind you, his back is turned, okay? His back is to you. He's in front of you 10 paces. You're walking behind him, coming from around the corner. He walks in, then the door closes behind him. He never turned around to see you, but you assume that he's ill-mannered. Instead of saying, hey, can you hold that elevator for a minute? You assume that someone saw you. You assume that you're so grandiose and so fancy that people see you. Nobody sees you. Don't get it twisted. Nobody sees you. They're too busy looking at themselves. Trust. Always do your best. Always do your best. And here's how he expounds on always do your best. Your best is going to change from moment to moment. It will be different when you are healthy as opposed to sick. That makes sense. Under any circumstance, simply do your best, and you will avoid self-judgment, self-abuse, and regret. Now, let's say, for example, you're in the medical field as I am, and you know something. You didn't really feel like following up on something. You come back and you got a problem. You got some issues. But you knew it before you left. If you do your best, you're not at home worrying about something that you failed to do. You've done it. You can't see everything. You can't know everything. But when you know about it and you can do something about it, do your best. Or when you're tackling a challenge, or when you're taking on something new, do your best. The fifth agreement, be skeptical, but learn to listen. Don't believe yourself or anybody else. Use the power of doubt to question everything you hear. Is it really the truth? Listen to the intent behind the words, and you will understand the real message. So that is the fifth agreement. And I think once you tie all these together, once you tie these 5 agreements in, once you learn to master the 4 agreements and you're ready for the 5th agreement, you will see the world change around you because of the change that you've made in yourself. These are awesome books. You can pick them up at any reseller, and at every bookstore there is available. This was on the bestseller list for years and years and years. So this one is the 4 agreements. If you purchase the 5th agreement, it's not until the 8th chapter that the 5th agreement comes into play. I want to thank you all for listening. Please get in on these books if you're a reader or if you're on a journey for self-discovery, self-mastery, self-love. Check these out. He's also the author of other books, so look him up and give him a chance. You don't have to spend top dollar on these books if you don't want to. Someone you know probably owns this book. Maybe you can borrow it. But check out these books, and I think that there's a lot of knowledge dropped in these books, and I think they're very helpful in your goal for mastering, self-mastery, and self-improvement and personal growth. God bless.